So today I wanted to nerd out about film audio a little bit and sound design. So I'm going to talk about this technique that I really like. I think it's really fun and effective, and it's pretty simple and easy to do as well. So I'm going to show you guys a few examples of this technique being done in film, and then I'm going to show you guys how to do it, really simple version of how to do this technique in Pro Tools here. Okay, and the examples that I'm going to be using here are from American Horror Story, and it's from the cult season. So if you haven't seen that and you really don't want to see a single second of that season before you sit down to watch it, you can tune out this video. But to be honest, I'm going to be doing really quick, short clips, so it's not going to be giving away any plot points, really. It's basically not a spoiler, but just in case, I know some people really care and they don't want to see a single second of it. So it is going to be American Horror Story. It's going to be the cult season. So you're warned. So the basic technique is when you put a bunch of reverb on a single sound effect. And so a lot of times this is done right before a scene change or a cut visually. And I feel like it's a great technique for foreshadowing creepiness, scariness, like something kind of off is about to happen. And I've noticed the way American Horror Story is using it is they're putting it on a really quick action sound, just a really short sound effect. And it's definitely being used to signal that something scary is about to happen, something creepy is about to happen. They're definitely using it for foreshadowing. Okay, so I'm just going to play you a few really quick examples off Amazon. I hope I don't get flagged for this. I feel like it is for educational purposes because I'm talking about sound design techniques, so hopefully I get away with it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so in this example, they're using the effect when she sets down the wine glass, and it's foreshadowing something really creepy is about to happen between these two characters, but I don't really want to give it away in case you haven't seen the show. If you haven't, then go watch it and you'll see what I mean. If you have, it's season 7, episode 2, so you can go check it out to remind yourself of what happens. But I'll just play it and you can hear the effect so you can see what I'm talking about here.
I can take it from here.
Okay. Well, it's perfect. I'll go check on Oz.
Yeah, so hopefully you heard that. Hopefully you caught that. When she set down the wine glass, there was a lot more reverb than they needed to add. And it really added to the creepiness of the scene. I feel like it was a good device to foreshadow that something's kind of off here. Like this is not the reverb we should be hearing. It's just a little bit more cavernous and creepy sounding, right? So if you didn't catch it, just rewind, check it out again. Okay, so the next example that I want to show you guys. So in this one, the effect is actually on the lock being turned, and you'll see what I mean in a second here. But basically, he turns the lock, and then shortly afterwards, something creepy happens. Surprise, surprise, American Horror Story. Again, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to cause any spoilers for anyone, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can watch it if you want to know. All right, so I'm going to play it so you can hear it. This one isn't as extreme as the wine glass.
Harry, you're the boss. You shouldn't have to stay late.
Shirley, this is my baby. Go home to yours. Spend some quality time. And say hi to Frank.
Oh, don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Are you kidding? This is a chance of a lifetime. I get to bring the country back from the cliff and return it to the promise that is America. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Night.
So that's that. I hope you caught it. There was a little more reverb than you really needed to have for that scene, for that actual location. It wasn't as extreme as the wine glass, but I feel like they're still just, they're erring on the side of adding a little too much reverb to that effect. And I feel like whether or not they meant to use it as a foreshadowing device, it really does effectively communicate that something kind of off is going on or about to go on here. Yeah, that's another example that I have. Okay, and then my third example here is a little different, but I feel like it's in the same family. So basically, I love doing this where you take some audio. I mean, people do this all the time in film. This isn't like a huge revolutionary thing or anything. But basically, it's the idea of letting sound from one scene trail into the next scene. But more specifically, it's letting the reverb from one scene travel into the next scene. And I feel like just like putting a bunch of reverb on a single sound effect, letting the reverb from one scene trail into another can be used really effectively to foreshadow something creepy is about to happen. Because like if you think about it, you have a darker scene that has like a lot of reverb on some sort of an effect or sound that's going on. And if you then move into a brighter scene, but you have that reverb trail over into the brighter scene from the darker scene, it can really have an effect and really tell you that something's going on here, right? So I'll just play it so you can see what I mean. So you hear how they have that truck, that creepy truck that's doing who knows what, right? And it's going along, and then they have the sound of that truck mixed with that musical note that's hit, that like dissonant, creepy musical note. And then they have the reverb on that, nice long reverb trailing out as they go into the next scene. I really like it. I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's not like the craziest, most revolutionary sound design concept, but I just kind of wanted to point it out here. So that is the technique. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. Let me know if you think this makes sense or if this resonates with you. Let me know in the comments below. Now I'm going to show you guys kind of how to do it a little bit. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to open up my clip list so we can see things here. And I'm just going to go over here. I have these sound effects, which I just took off of a sound library that I have. I'm going to hold Option and I'm going to drag them in. And I'm holding Option so that it copies over to that audio files folder. So normally I would be copying these off my sound effects library. So I hold Option so that they then get copied over into this audio files folder. Cool. So now these are in my session. So I'm just going to make new tracks for them. So I'm going to do 2 stereo audio tracks. I'll drag them in here. And here are my sounds. I just have, what is it? Frying an egg and then a whistling kettle. So we have the sound going. Let's see. Let's hear how this sounds. So it might be fun to treat this one like it's just the other background sounds that are in the film, and then this is the one that I put the effect on. So what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll create a new stereo aux track, and I'm going to route the effect out. So what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to call this kettle whistling effects. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go to this track, which I haven't named yet because I'm being bad. I'm going to create a send, and I'm just going to send it out bus 1, 2, Option and click to bring that up to 0. And then I'm going to have this one take in that same bus, so bus 1, 2. So now I have the signals being split and sent out here. And this is where I'm going to build that effect with the reverb so that I can then have this one be independent and we'll still hear the normal audio without the reverb. And you know, there's different ways to do this, but I kind of like doing it this way for whatever reason. That's how I like to do it. So then you're going to pick a reverb and put it on this aux track. So it doesn't matter much which one you use. That's kind of more a preference thing and a, you know, whatever you're working on type of thing. I'm going to do Deverb here because I know that that comes with Pro Tools. So more of you guys are going to be able to use this one. With this one, I like to pull the signal up there. I don't know why they lower the signal right off the bat. It's kind of annoying, but they might have a reason for it. I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to bring down this reverb. I'm just in the Smart Tool. I'm holding Command to make new breakpoints with the Smart Tool. I'm holding Command and then clicking, right? So I'm going to bring it all the way down so there's not reverb here until the very end. And you can have a little bit of reverb beforehand. It's kind of up to you. It depends on what you're working on, right? But I'm going to have it be nothing and then the effect at the end just so you guys can see the more extreme version of how this ends up sounding. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to, the more extreme you want it, the more extreme you do the reverb, that kind of thing. But basically you're just going to have the reverb. It's going to go from normal whistling to reverb, and then you just let it trail out here. Let's zoom in a little bit so this happens a little faster for the sake of our example. And I'm just going to pull this over to right at the end there where that final hit is. Not that it's really a hit, but And I'm just going to have this reverb go up at the very end. And then we're going to listen to it and see how that sounds. So I'm going to crank this up so it's definitely more extreme. Yep. And I'm just going to play it and we can hear how it sounds. So I might then have it fade out at a point. But of course it depends on what is actually going on visually, right? So I'm doing this without any visuals right now just so you can see the concept. Maybe a door slam would have been a better example, I don't know. So then if I were to break this and bring it out at the same time as if there's a scene change, right? Then I might add a de-esser to this. I might add more of a high frequency cut. It kind of adds to the creepiness factor, right, guys? And of course, my master fader is clipping here, so you can either click on this here or do Option C to clear, and then test it again to see if it's still clipping. Cool, so that's the basic idea, and there are multiple ways to do this, like most things in Pro Tools, right? But I wanted to show you guys how I tend to do this, just so that if you were watching me show the examples and you're like, cool, but how do I do that? You can see one way to kind of pull this off. So again, I would work this more if I were actually doing this for a film or for sound design, but I wanted to show you the basic mechanics of how to line it up, how to do this type of an effect. And you can do this with a bunch of other effects too. It doesn't have to be reverb, right? I've done it with like the crystallizer plugin. I've done it with like a few other things that are kind of fun. And you can even mess around with this and try different ways of using this technique. So for example, I could mute the original audio here and just keep the reverb and have the sound of the frying egg go. It might sound cool. Let's hear it. It's kind of creepy, right? I might boost this up a little more even, since it's just the reverb now. And I kind of want to hear more of it sooner, right? So I've been moving this up here. So that's kind of fun, right? So just experiment with it, play around with it. There's no one right way to do this, right? And if I were actually doing this for some sort of sound design or film, again, I would work with this a lot more. I would try a bunch of different things. I wouldn't just leave it where it is now, right? But I wanted you guys to see the basic structure for how I do this. I really love this technique. I love making creepy sounds, creepy atmospheric sound design. I just love that stuff. So I thought I'd share this with you guys, share how I noticed it in American Horror Story. I hope you guys liked that and found it interesting. But that's basically it for today. So yeah, as usual, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please share my channel with your friends who might also like my videos, or check out my other videos yourself. To be honest, I've been trying to get back to being monetized by YouTube after they changed the monetization rules. So view minutes would be greatly appreciated. Sharing my channel with your friends would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, and I have a Patreon. It's in the description below. If you feel so inclined, I would really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'm going to be coming out with new videos every Wednesday. And thank you for watching. Okay.